Layers are one of the most commonly used elements in Photoshop. If you've never used them before, layers can seem a little overwhelming. Fortunately, layers are actually easy to get the hang of if you know a few basic commands. To help understand how layers work, you can visualize them as physical pieces of paper stacked on top of each other. What you put on one layer will not affect the others, which makes for easier editing. To begin, we will need to create a new layer. You can create a new layer by clicking on the small button that looks like a piece of paper at the bottom of the Layers window. As an aside, if you don't see a Layers window, you can always bring it up by going under the Window menu and selecting Layers. You can also create a new layer by going under the Layer menu and choosing New, then Layer. The Alt command for creating a new layer is Shift-Control-N. As you can see, we now have a new layer, Layer 1, on top of the background layer. To demonstrate, I will draw a black square on the canvas. Now that I have a square on its own layer, Layer 1, I can easily move it around the canvas without changing anything else. To demonstrate further, I will make a second layer and make a shape in a different color. At a glance, it appears these shapes are combined, but because they are on separate layers, Layer 1 and Layer 2, I can move the red circle around without changing the black square. You can also hide layers by clicking on the small eye symbol to the left of each layer. As you can see, the image on each layer disappears when it is hidden. It is very helpful to put design elements on separate layers because if they are on the same layer, it is much harder to edit the image and make changes. But with the use of layers, you can easily change every part of the image on each layer without messing up the rest of the image. There are many other interesting things you can do with layers. For example, notice the small square beside the Lock category of the Layers window, called Lock Transparent Pixels. If you click this small button, a lock symbol will appear next to your highlighted layer to indicate it is locked. This doesn't mean you can't move the layer. It can still be moved, but since it's locked, any changes you make to the layer won't affect the rest of the image. For example, you can see lines being drawn through the locked red circle, but it stays within the confines of the red circle and doesn't affect the rest of the canvas. While layers are undeniably useful, projects can become a bit overwhelming if you have too many layers. So, if you are positive you are done with part of your image, it is useful to merge layers. You can merge layers by going under the Layer menu and choosing Merge Down, which is also Ctrl-E on your keyboard. Merging layers means the images on separate layers are now combined into one image. As an example of how beneficial merging layers can be for larger projects, I will draw a new circle and then copy and paste it upon the canvas. Please notice that every new image I paste is creating a new layer. This is convenient in the sense that you can easily move each new element to wherever you want, but what if you want to move all of the elements together? To do this, simply press Ctrl-E on your keyboard to merge each layer down until all of the images you wish to combine are on one layer. This links them together, and now they can be moved around the canvas as one image. Hopefully this brief overview has given you a good basic grasp of some of the ways layers can be used to make image editing a snap in Photoshop.